Hello friends, my name is Emile. Now, Honda's NSX is one of the most beloved sports cars of all time, acclaimed for its handling and incredible detailing. It's been 11 long years since the last NSX rolled from the production line, and the rumour mill was spinning for years saying a new NSX was coming. A variety of ideas were considered for the replacement, from a V10 engine supercar to the infamous HSC concept car. However, after several years, finally, we have the sequel. And here it is. This is the new Acura NSX, and on the face of it, it's a radically different car to the original. Instead of looking to Pininfarina and Ferrari for influence on the styling, the new car looks very different indeed. It's super modern, with sharp lines mixing with smooth edges to create a futuristic looking car, which takes no cues from anything else on the road. While the styling has proved controversial, I actually really do like the look of the new NSX. It's a definite departure from the original, and manages to stand out while being that little bit understated. However, if you think the styling is radical, that is nothing compared to mechanicals. The original NSX had a simple, naturally aspirated V6 that delivered its 270 horsepower to the rear wheels. The new NSX is much more high-tech. Power comes courtesy of a twin-turbocharged 3.5 litre V6 engine, and because that wasn't enough, it's helped along by 3 electric motors. The net result is 573 horsepower and 623 pounds-feet of torque, over double the power of the original and almost triple the torque. It also has drive going to double the amount of wheels, with an all-wheel drive system, and, to top it all off, a 9-speed double-clutch gearbox. Of course, as you'd expect from a car of this class, it's built from all sorts of exotic materials, some of which are a world first. Onto the interior, and we start to see why this car wears the NSX badge. It's a nice place to be, and looks well put together. Sure, compared to some other cars in the class, the interior looks a little more ordinary, but that only adds to the idea that, like the original, this is an everyday car. Likewise, visibility is excellent, the dash sits low, and the windscreen is relatively large. Combine this with an easy-to-read gauge cluster, and the NSX leads the class in this regard. Speaking of usability, the boot is larger than you'd expect. Definitely big enough for many things you might need. Sure, it's not a van, or even a Civic Type R, but it's still a decent, usable space. Anyways, enough of all that. The real question is, was the NSX worth the wait when it comes to the driving? Well, first things first, if you're expecting a new car to drive like the old one, then you'll be disappointed. The new NSX is a different can of worms to the old car, and just looking at the stats, it will show you that. However, if you're looking for an alternative to, say, a 570S or a GTR, then keep your ears opened, because the new NSX is very good indeed. Straight line speed was one of the areas where the old car did struggle in. However, the new NSX, it really can keep up with its competitors. With all-wheel drive, 573 horsepower and 623 torques, the NSX claims a 0 to 60 time of 2.7 seconds, and a top speed of 190 miles per hour. While those numbers seem a little overambitious, the NSX gets good launch and acceleration, both from standstill and out of the corners. Overall straight line speed is a little on the low end for the class, although thanks to the way most races are structured, I'm sure this shouldn't be too much of an issue. Speaking of races, races mostly have corners, and inevitably you'll reach some at some point. So what about those? Well, the NSX handles them well. It offers good, neutral handling, making for an easy car to drive quickly. While it doesn't have the grip of, say, a GT12, you wouldn't expect it to, and compared to the other cars in its class, it's certainly one of the better handling vehicles. One area the NSX does fall down in a little bit is overall weight. The NSX weighs a hefty 3,804 pounds. While lighter than the Nissan GTR, it is a staggering 800 pounds heavier than the McLaren 570S. While you'd expect this to cause the NSX some issues in, say, cornering and braking, it doesn't feel that heavy to drive, and speaking of the brakes, they're very good indeed. The greatest attribute of the NSX though is the gearbox. It is utterly perfect. It's slick, it's quick, and the ratios are spot on for what the car can do. Ultimately, the NSX is a great handling sports car, and in the respect of handling, this could potentially be the new class leader. So, at the end of the day, what do I think of the NSX? Overall, I really like it. It isn't the old car. They only really share a badge and not much else. However, if you're going to think of this in terms as a standalone car, it's great. When compared to the other cars in the class of ultimate sports cars, it offers the best balance of speed, usability and handling. It's a great all-rounder, but how much do you pay for this jack of all trades? All in, the NSX is 170,000 credits, which isn't bad. While the GTR is some 40,000 credits cheaper than the NSX, the 570S is 52,000 more. So the price is in between its two main rivals. Do I think the NSX is worth that price? Absolutely, yes I do. Out of those two, the NSX is definitely my favourite due to its flexible nature and ease of use. When it comes to this price bracket, there isn't a whole lot that'll go quicker, yet offer the same everyday usability that the NSX has always been known for. So there we go. Sound off below in the comments on what you think of the new Honda NSX, and thank you all very much for watching. My name is The Real Emile, and until next time, farewell.